Welcome to another edition of Great Health, Abundant Happiness, and Outrageous Love. Mwah. What do you want to talk about tonight, my love? I know you have some notes. So whenever I see notes, I know you got something cooking.
This is my thought book, I like to call it, because it goes between wherever I'm going, I bring it, because I'll get these ideas and these thoughts. So anyway, what I want to talk about is how can we create a feeling of community, while we're practicing social distancing. I think a lot of people are really, craving that desire for whether it's hanging out with your friends or being part of your community or whatever it is that you're normally part of. Now it's just different. And I'm hearing a lot of people are really struggling with, various issues during this trying times. So of social distancing, and it makes sense. I understand why people are struggling with certain issues, and I want to go through all those issues and offer up some, positivity and ideas on, how to take those what might be issues and make them into non-issues.
Well, I think that's a good idea. I want to hear these because, to be honest, you guys have known we've been talking about this. Karen and I are locked up in here. We're, I'm proud to say we're not having any issues. Dare I say, we're actually having a blast together, locked in here. It's different. It's like, we're playing house here, and we're still getting business done, but we're getting a lot more time on our hands to watch the birds, put our face in the sun, walk out there and watch the snow melt. So yeah, let's go through this.
And
if we can help people, I'd love to.
And I think on top of that, I don't want everyone to think, oh, well, it's so easy for you guys. On top of all that, Jeffrey and I were COVID-19 positive and went through some excruciating days, actually, for me, weeks. So coming out of that, I think, again, I try to find the silver lining and the blessing is that we're so elated to feel great that, we're like two little kids jumping up and down because we survived it. Right. But what I want to get to are some of the issues that, I know a lot of people are struggling with, and, people are feeling isolated and lonely, and that's a real problem. And it's I understand that some people live alone. Some people, like, your parents are used to being with your brother's kids. They were with their grandkids, I would say 6, if not 7 days a week for hours, and they now have not seen them, in days outside of on video. And so there's, those are purposes for a lot of people that are now not available. And that doesn't mean it's, the end of the world. It's just the end of the world as we know it. But there's lots of great opportunities to make this into a positive. And then a lot of people feel stressed and anxious. I mean, people that haven't gotten the virus yet are very, stressed, anxious, scared about getting it, the fear of getting it, the fear of the unknown about it, and all of those things makes a lot of sense. And then a lot of people have had some, financial and or job issues, and there's a lot of stress and fear in there as well. People are afraid, people are overeating and or eating things that they normally wouldn't eat for a variety of reasons. Maybe they're not able to get to a store, or maybe when they get to the store, they don't have what they would normally eat available. And those kind of things can really affect a person's mood. It can affect their overall health. There's inactivity, there's so many things that could be on this list. And if you have additional things that are troubling you during this time, put them in the comments and we'll hit them up, because, we can only hit a few of these at a time.
I was just going to say, are you going to, we haven't had a chance to talk about this. Are you going to address all these? You're going to pick a couple of these? Because I want to dive in here. But
yep, we're just going to pick a couple. So, the first one, let's go with feeling lonely and isolated, because I think that is a really big issue that a lot of people aren't aware other people might be experiencing.
Sure.
Right?
You know, we have, Karen and I are involved in a few businesses, and, I'm having multiple video calls a day. We even have done some virtual happy hours, those kinds of things. You've seen that stuff with Zoom and all this other stuff going on out there. I think there are ways you can still connect with people, obviously, with the technology,
Absolutely.
whether it be for business or just screwing around.
Right.
We're doing a lot of connections with our family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad to say I'm talking to my daughters more, more in a week than I did in a month prior. And my
I
parents.
usually talk to them every day, as I do
I know,
my
that's
parents
why-
every day. But
That's why I said me.
as a family, we're doing a group call, and that is so exciting to me, right? That's
Yeah.
really, it's awesome.
So it's a plus. I'm just saying this is time. Yeah, there's time on our hands, but we have technologies that can reach out. And by the way, everyone has an iPhone or the like thereof, where you can just do a video call. So you don't have to have all this fancy technology anymore. You don't have to go to a video conferencing room to do this. It's all free apps. And by the way, if you need any of these free apps for business or for personal, please reach out to us, because we have a lot of this stuff that we have access to.
We do. So, there's a lot of people that live alone. There are a lot of families. I saw a family on Facebook. It's a divorced family, and they have come together in one household so that they can see their children, because otherwise you really can't have the kids transferring from one home to the other.
Yeah.
Right? So they've come together. I've seen some really beautiful things, but some of the things that Jeffrey and I talked about that we want to offer up as ideas, if you're, feeling lonely, and again, this doesn't have to be someone who is living alone, although many people do, and I think those people are probably feeling it the most, right? Especially during this time of social distancing. So call your family, call your friends. It's a great time to reach out to old friends. I was texting with my college roommate a couple of days ago, and it was just so great to reconnect with her. So all of these things are available to us because we do have such great technology. And, call these people up and ask how they are. And I want to preface this with, let them know you're calling because you care about them, not because you're lonely. And that's really important, because if you call up and they said, hi, how are you? I'm lonely. That immediately sets the tone for the call, and it throws out this need and this lack of. And unfortunately, the way that the world works, the way law of attraction works, it's a boomerang effect. So the minute you throw out the I'm lonely card, that's what you get back, because it kind of puts up a doorway.
Right. Well, you're saying, unfortunately, it works that way if you're putting out low vibes. Because fortunately, it works really well if you're the person calling up and said, hey, haven't talked to you in a long time. I had some time and I just thought of you. I saw an email that reminded me of you, or I saw something on TV, wanted to connect up. But if you come in with a positive, high vibration, that's going to come back to you as well. So when you talk about vibrations, Karen, low vibrations are fear and anger. High vibrations are like joy and love. And you want to be the person that's putting forth high vibration. I mean, we're all just energy. And think about it like it's a calm ocean. And the energy you put out is a wave that goes from one being to the next. And the energy affects others' energy. So do you want to be the one spreading negative energy, low vibration, or do you want to be the one spreading positive energy and high vibration and uplifting people? I mean, I can tell you, it's not even a question. I mean, I really work on trying to spread high vibration. I have a hard time even talking about any of the issues that are going on, the problems. But you got to be realistic too, and when you're talking to certain people.
Right. People are losing loved ones, and you do have to be realistic. So we're not talking about that specifically. That is a whole different conversation. But we're talking about, people that are lonely. Don't call up and start complaining about being lonely. Instead, call up and check in. Ask how they're doing. it's such a great time to be a listener and a learner, because if you're calling somebody and you really, go in with that direction, you might realize that, wow, I hadn't talked to this person in so long. I had no idea that this is what they were doing,
Right.
or that they were interested in spirituality, or whatever it is. I mean, it's such a great opportunity to be a listener and a learner.
Yeah, I can tell you that's been my case. People I haven't talked to in a while. I'm
Yeah.
so glad we are having this conversation and picking that
Right?
back up.
We've learned so many fun facts about people we haven't talked to in a while.
Yeah.
The second thing, and we're only going to go through 3 things today.
Okay.
The second thing is boredom. Again, reach out to others and check in. Learn something new that's of interest to you. Learn a language. Learn, what is it that we're doing? I have a hard time pronouncing it. Keto. It's not yoga, but it's the other.
Oh, it's like a Tai Chi kind of a thing. I don't know. There's
Starts with a Q.
Well, listen, I'm new with it, so I'm not
Right.
going to even begin to tell you. I just kind of found it on
Right.
YouTube, and it's I'm going to say it's stretching exercise, it's flow, it's alignment. It's not far from the yoga that we've done, but yeah, it's great.
Right.
It's new.
It's new to us, and it's really awesome. New meditations. Take up baking or cooking, and healthy baking. I mean, we post a lot of really awesome healthy recipes on our channel. There's a bazillion channels out there, so spend some time, because you have it inside, and make some special treats for yourself, or if you're not alone, for your family. I mean, or cook together, even better. That list goes on and on. I mean, learn about plant-based eating. Learn about whatever it is that you find interesting, or something new that you think might benefit you and your health, right?
As I take a deep breath, so finishing up this virus, I still have that dry cough. So I've been researching breathing exercises and all kinds of things. I'm learning so much about the lungs and breathing exercises.
Jeffrey walks around with a straw, like, and at first I was like, what the heck is he doing? But it's one of the exercises.
Yeah, you breathe in deep and you blow out through the straw, so it's just like it has something to do with the expelling of the air.
Right.
It works your system, but yeah, it's interesting. So I am learning a lot in those fronts.
And on the flip side, if you're bored, don't call your ex and say, hey, how are you? I'm bored. I mean, I can tell you right now, Jeffrey and I have a lot of relationship experience. That is going to send a message that you're bored, you're desperate, you're lonely, and that is what you are going to get back from that person. And that is a surefire way to sever that relationship, whatever's left of it. If it's an ex and you've remained friends, they're going to start distancing themselves from you, because that negative vibe that you're sending in that phone call or that text is just not great. We had a story about a friend, and his mom called him up and said, hi, I called you because I'm really bored, and his feelings were really hurt. So don't start a conversation like that. Don't ever tell anyone that the reason you're calling them is because you're bored. First of all, it makes them feel terrible, and it puts pressure on them to entertain you. If you need to be entertained, it's not really, that's just an unfair thing.
It's not a good opener to a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it goes back to that energy that Jeffrey was explaining earlier. Low vibrational energy attracts low vibrational energy.
Right.
High vibrational energy, love, joy, peace, enlightenment, all the way at the top, attracts all that back. And at the end of the day, I do believe that's the goal for all of us. Yeah. And then the last thing that we'll talk about today, and then we'll hit the rest of the list tomorrow and the next day, is stress and anxiety. People are definitely stressed out. A lot of people are stressed out about their jobs. A lot of people have been furloughed, and they're stressed out about how they're going to pay for things. And a friend of mine sent me an email that she got from her landlord without ever asking for anything. And this particular friend, she even said, I actually had the money to pay, but the landlord had already sent out a notice to all of the tenants saying that all of April and all of May rent is going to be waived. If you've already sent me a check, that will go towards the next month that's due.
Wow.
I will look at June depending on what's going on. So this person, just out of the goodness of their heart, has done this. And these are the kind of things that happen when you have a positive outlook. So you may have been furloughed. You may have been, your job may have been eliminated. Maybe you work in a shop that's now closed. There's so many things going on like that. But if you have the right attitude, things like that will come back to you. And, you just need to manifest them and think about all of the good.
Well, think about this: where focus goes, energy flows.
Love that.
And we've talked about this with the news. The news is so negative. It's their job. They've got to keep people interested. So there's a lot of that stuff up there, and people love this crap. I don't know why. But, my point is, you can only take so much of it. So just get your information and get out.
Yeah.
But, it's interesting.
Anxiety and stress are definitely heightened by watching the news, regardless of this.
When you say like watching the news on TV, but like the news that we just picked up on YouTube, there's a woman out there, an MD, not sure of her name, maybe it's Papa or something, but she's got this whole mission to explain that we've overblown this whole thing and it's not really as big as we've made it out to. I don't know how much truth is there. I mean, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories and all this stuff, but what I like to do when I see that, I love to see the numbers and what they're talking about, because it takes my anxiety down a little bit. I try not to focus on what's going outside of these four walls.
Right.
As much as we can, Karen and I.
Mainly because we really don't have, we can't do anything.
We can't control it.
We can control what's in here.
Right. Well, you can control what's in here.
Right.
And so when you think about all that anxiety out there, it builds up in your mind.
Right.
But if you can find people that are talking about this positively, and maybe it was overblown. I don't know. Maybe cases are peaking. Maybe this is going to clear sooner than we think. All those kinds of things. Those people, I'm paying a little more attention to, just because it's a ray of hope. Again. We're not really watching the news.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, because really the way the brain works is the brain is more attracted to negative news, and I can't remember what it was.
I understand, right?
Yeah, than it is to positive. And this particular person that Jeffrey's talking about, we've discussed it a lot, because there's some cracks in it, but it's given us great topics. But the point is, when we watch her, she's very calming.
Yeah.
Right? She does not elicit anxiety and stress, regardless of whether what she's saying is true or false, or maybe a combination of. When you watch the news, their job is to sensationalize everything. And so therefore, they're purposely eliciting that anxiety and stress, and really making you hang on to it. So instead, and we can beat a dead horse and tell people not to watch the news, but instead of doing that, to alleviate the stress and the anxiety, and I've talked to a lot of people that are really feeling anxious, and I've sent them some of my favorite meditations, and I have a lot. So if you're interested, let me know what calms you, or I can send you a variety of different ones. But one in particular I want to share with everyone, because it's definitely one of our favorites. Jonathan Lehman. It's on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube or Google and just Google Jonathan Lehman, and it's called Morning Meditation. It's 10 minutes. It's a guided meditation, and it's very calming. Jeffrey and I did this meditation for 30 straight days a couple of years ago, and we now listen to him at least a couple of times a week, still feathered in with others. But because we listened to him for the 30 straight days, the second I hit start on his meditation and hear his voice, I'm immediately calmed. Well,
we actually, it was a great period of our life. We were in Costa Rica, and we had this program going before we'd go outside and to smell the air and the humidity that comes up, and the soil and everything that's going on in Costa Rica. I just brings back memories for me. But to your point, we ingrained that into our mind, and it just took are a great way to start the day. But yeah, I love that
Right.
one too. I love
So
it.
don't get out of bed without doing a meditation. And 10 minutes.
10 minutes is not a lot of time, guys. 10 minutes. We're not
Right.
talking about meditating for hours.
Right. I have some wonderful 5-minute meditations if you really can't justify 10 minutes. But, you know, I think we all owe it to ourselves to release that stress and anxiety and fill our minds with this beautiful meditation. So
Right.
Jonathan Lehman, Google him or go to YouTube. It's called Morning Meditation.
You can put the link in our body.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the body. Don't get out of bed tomorrow morning without first listening to that. And in order to create your own magical space, whether you have a dog or you know, if you like your coffee or you light a candle, set your scene, you know, and have everything ready to go. Obviously, don't light candles the night before, but you know, if fill up your diffuser, whatever it is that's going to give your environment this feeling of calmness.
Right.
So that when you add in the meditation,
No, it's great.
that stress and anxiety, you're going to let it go.
Yeah.
And you can do that throughout the day. You can add meditations in throughout the day, or sometimes just going back for a few minutes into your own mind
Right.
about the meditation
Right.
relieves the stress.
Yeah, when you said don't light the candles the night before, it reminded me of if you guys watch The Office, just saw this show, Michael Scott burned his foot on his George Foreman grill because
Oh my
he
gosh.
had it at the foot of his bed, too full, like to
Love that
warm the
one.
foot of his bed, but he would wake up, turn it on, already had bacon in it, so he could wake up to the fresh smell of bacon. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous, but you have to watch it. It's
Right.
hilarious.
And
But-
even more ridiculous because we're fully plant-based.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, that's that.
All right.
Wishing you great health, abundant happiness, and outrageous love from the nest of Copper Mountain.
Thanks for listening, guys. Be safe and enjoy this time that's been given back to you.